Please subscribe, comment, share and like this video. I will bring the truth about our people. Rest in sweet peace, Kevin Samuels. A man who truly has a heart for his people and not like the Galaxy Afua presenters and Afua Rose, the manslayer. My YouTube channel The Critique, sole purpose, is to expose the hatred, racism and destruction of these so-called awoke black people who call themselves God and goddesses while bringing division amongst men and women, light skin and dark skin, etc. etc.
So I learned that my mother, obviously 14 when I was born, and my foster mom, her foster mother, was very adamant about her going through with this pregnancy to have me, thank God. But a short time after I was born, the story that I know is that I was quickly, and I say quickly, anywhere from 5 days to 5 weeks after my birth, I was put into the custody, the care. I was called what they called a ward of the court. The judge says, you know, this is what's going to happen, basically, so on and so forth. And that's where I ended up. There was kids that came and went. There was 4 of us that stayed connected to the family our whole life in my age bracket. There was obviously tons of kids, but there's a group of 3 or 4 of us that kind of stayed connected, stayed there our whole childhood. But I remember the first time that I was actually sexually but I remember being asleep and being awakened by a tug at my pajama bottoms, my pants, and I'm sure there was Superman or Spider-Man of some sort. And I remember waking up and seeing what's going on, and there was this older girl, and she began to perform oral sex on me. Obviously, I'm almost paralyzed to know what to do at that age. I didn't, no idea. But I remember, not ever saying anything about this, and it didn't last, very long. And it wasn't until a little bit later, I think, to where it hit me that, it wasn't right. And it may have been several years, I don't remember, but I knew. This story was the first time anything like this had happened that I can remember, but I often forget it because it was only oral, so I don't think of it, and it was from a girl, so I didn't think of it as such a bad thing. Growing up, I didn't. Obviously, looking back on it now, like a different lens.
Harvey Weinstein, Roy Moore, Bill Cosby. When you picture these names in your head, you probably can envision the countless numbers of news articles and the women who have accusations against them. 2017 was the year of the woman, coming out of the shadows and talking about abuse and trauma. With the hashtag #MeToo movement, which was long overdue and incredibly necessary, but it left out other silent victims of trauma and violence. When you think of domestic violence and physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, you often think of a male perpetrator and a female victim. But there's another silent victim that has been long overlooked: male survivors of trauma. 1 in 6 men are sexually abused. And it's my work with that population that I'd like to share with you today. Now, before I begin, I want to give you a trigger warning. I'm about to talk about, in graphic detail, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. So if you ever feel uncomfortable, please feel free to leave the room. Now,
you can watch the full TED Talk discussion on this. You will find the link in the description. It is so heartbreaking to hear. But now let's move on to some newspaper articles. She did what? Mom facing incest charges after marrying daughter. 8 years after marrying her son. Sick and twisted mom who raped her son's friend, 11, when he came to house for sleepover is jailed for 10 years. What is disgusting woman? How could you do this to those children, your son's friend who is 11 years old? Oh my God, and this next article is even worse. British mother sexually abused her children and urinated in their drinks, court hears. That is also sick. What is wrong with women today, oh my God? And society says only men do these things. Let me move on to my last article and wrap up this video for today. Evil mom handed over 9-year-old son to be abused and raped by pedophile ring. I am lost for words. There are so many more cases of male abuse, male molested by women. If I shared them all on this video it would be over 30 minutes long. But I think the case has been made. Now for the last video.
Child sexual abuse, or CSA, is often the elephant in the room. Everyone knows it's a serious issue, but it remains a difficult conversation to have. Male victimization is a huge modern-day issue. Male victims don't disclose their CSA histories easily or willingly, so having a comfortable support network around them is vital. So, where do we go from here? There are at least 4 pathways forward. 1. Taking sex and gender into account will keep us focused on the "what about the boys" issue. 2. Trauma and violence-informed healthcare is critical, especially in males. 3. Service providers must ensure safety in young people's environments and relationships. 4. Public health needs to tackle sexual violence as it has with other forms of violence. Without support, victims become even more isolated, leaving their health to suffer. We cannot let that happen. Fortunately, research is guiding us on how to prevent this. And, as a result, the elephant is finally out of the room.
So my dear Afua Rose, it is important to highlight a balanced view of what really happens to both male and females in this world. I hope and pray both abuse of both sexes will stop. But if you only show the abuse of females and refuse to investigate and highlight the abuse of men at the hands of women, then you are doing a one-sided job. #female perpetrators, your time is up.